Cardi B's Coachella performance didn't just break the internet, it exposed it. Her viral photos didn't go trending for the music, the fashion, or even the drama. It was her body, specifically her infamous BBL, that had the internet in a chokehold. And now, insiders are claiming that the fallout is more than just online slander. Rumor has it, NFL star Stefon Diggs finally called it quits because of how Cardi smelled. Yes, you heard that right. Her BBL allegedly reeked, and the streets are saying Stefon dipped and sprinted back to his ex, who had receipts ready. Cardi's been clapping back left and right, but the damage is already done. So how do we get from viral curves to viral embarrassment? Let's unpack the mess behind the smell, the surgery, and the breakup that has everyone talking. It all started with one photo. One glossy, golden hour shot of Kendall Jenner at Coachella, posing effortlessly in front of a desert backdrop, surrounded by influencers, celebs, and carefully curated chaos. But almost instantly, something fell off. The image went viral, not because of her outfit or the event or even the Kardashian aura. No, it was her body, her hips, her waist, her proportions. Fans and haters alike were suddenly unified in confusion. Within minutes, the whispers started. That's not what she looked like last week. Her waist isn't shaped like that. Her arm is bending the tent behind her. Reddit threads exploded. Twitter sleuths zoomed in. TikTok commentators were side-eyeing every pixel like it was a crime scene. Photoshop? AI? Ozempic gone too far? The speculation was nonstop. And then came the giddy images debacle, the smoking gun. When raw, unedited paparazzi shots from the event hit the web, they told a very different story. Her body looked more natural, less sculpted, less exaggerated. Gone was the hourglass silhouette and hyper-defined jawline. Fans put the two images side by side, the Coachella post and the giddy snap, and the internet went up in flames. The accusations of digital distortion were everywhere. Some even claimed she was using AI tools now, not just filters or Facetune. Kendall clapped back fast. She denied everything. She reposted the photo with a smug emoji and comments turned off. But it was too late. The damage was done. The moment had already shifted. What started as another sun-drenched influencer flex had mutated into a full-blown scandal about body image, authenticity, and the impossible standards set by people who already live in a world of perfection. Even loyal fans were quietly asking the same thing. What is she hiding? Because behind that viral photo was a growing narrative that just wouldn't die. That Kendall Jenner, the so-called natural one, was becoming unrecognizable. And Coachella was just the beginning. If the Coachella photos cracked the dam, the BBL rumors tore it wide open. What once seemed like a whisper in the shadows suddenly became the loudest conversation on every timeline. What exactly is going on with Kendall Jenner's body? And more importantly, why does it seem like her BBL is turning into a liability? At first, it was just the usual online buzz, fans pointing out how her proportions had subtly, then dramatically shifted over the past year. Kendall never used to have hips like that. Her thighs don't match. But by the time Coachella rolled around, the shift wasn't just visible. It was undeniable. And according to some insiders, that body transformation wasn't just cosmetic. It was causing real problems behind the scenes. Cue the now infamous BBL stink rumors. That's right. Users on Twitter and TikTok claim that certain cosmetic enhancements, including poorly done BBLs, can create hygiene issues if not properly maintained. And while no one wanted to say it out loud at first, the name Kendall Jenner kept popping up in those same threads. Whispers turned into snarky jokes. Jokes turned into alleged sightings. Why was Stefon Diggs making that face in the background? One fan tweeted, referencing a now-deleted story. He looked like he was trying not to breathe. And that's when everything exploded again, because it turns out Stefon Diggs, the NFL star, had allegedly been quietly dating Kendall for months. No red carpets, no soft launches, just private jets, hushed exits, and enough breadcrumbs for fans to piece it together. But not long after Coachella, the romance hit a wall, and fans were convinced they knew why. Some claimed he was turned off by the body changes. Others speculated that he felt catfished by the Instagram version of Kendall versus the reality. But the most viral theory? That the infamous BBL maintenance issue was the final straw. Stefon allegedly walked. No drama, no statement, just a clean break. And Kendall? Oh, she didn't say a word. But her Instagram screamed. Suddenly, her stories were filled with cryptic reposts. One about loving someone who only loves the idea of you. Another saying, never settle for half love, and a particularly sharp quote that read, if he wanted to, he would. Fans were quick to decode it. Stefon was never fully invested. Maybe he never really wanted her, just a fantasy version she created online. Even more damning? Right after the alleged breakup, she was spotted out solo, noticeably avoiding eye contact with the paparazzi and wearing oversized clothes, almost like she was trying to hide the very thing that made her go viral in the first place. The BBL that was supposed to be the ultimate flex now was being called her biggest regret. From body goals to body backlash, the tide had turned. And for Kendall Jenner, the price of that perfect silhouette might have been more than just physical. By this point, the whispers had turned into a roar, and Cardi B heard every word. As the BBL backlash hit a fever pitch and Kendall's name trended for all the wrong reasons, Cardi did what Cardi does best. She clapped back, and she did it loud. It started with a series of fiery tweets aimed at fans she claimed were obsessed with her body. One read, "Y'all bitches mad at me 'cause your waist built like a washing machine." Another, more venomous, snapped, "I've been bad, been paid, and been at surgery. Go cry in your broke-ass Honda." The message was clear. Cardi wasn't apologizing. She was doubling down. But things quickly got messy, Instead of addressing the real concern, that fans felt misled or even grossed out by her ever-changing appearance, Cardi flipped the script. She turned the conversation into a class war. She mocked people for not being able to afford maintenance, calling out broke bitches who don't even have health care, while flaunting her designer bags and red bottoms. "I pay $10K a month just to keep this body snatched," she boasted during an Instagram live, smirking as fans begged her to stop. And then came the deeper, darker undertones. When one user commented that her new shape didn't even look human, Cardi lashed out with a line that instantly sparked outrage. "Y'all sound like them dusty-ass white boys who be saying black girls too thick." Pick a struggle. Some praised her for standing up for curves, but others pointed out the slippery slope. She was no longer defending herself. She was weaponizing colorism and classism to silence anyone with a critique. Even more problematic, fans caught wind of her repeatedly misgendering a trans commenter on Twitter, calling them sir in a sarcastic tone. When called out, Cardi brushed it off as a joke, but the damage was done. The same woman who once claimed to stand with all the girls was now pushing people down just to hold her crown. The irony didn't go unnoticed. Here was Cardi dragging other women for how they looked, for being broke, for being built wrong, for not having access to the same procedure she flaunted, all while her own image was melting under the spotlight. The Photoshop, the fillers, the BBL rumors, the hygiene accusations, all of it was crashing down while she screamed about how jealous everyone else was. And maybe that's what made it sting. Cardi, who built a brand on being real, was now fighting criticism with the same elitist, exclusionary fire she once stood against. Instead of rising above the mess, she became it. To really understand how we got here, the Photoshop scandals, the BBL backlash, the clapbacks dripping in deflection, we need to rewind the tape. Because Cardi B's plastic surgery saga isn't just about vanity. It's about survival, insecurity, and the brutal price of fame in a world that never stops watching. Long before the Met Galas and million-dollar nails, Cardi was just Belcalis Almanzar, a Dominican Trinidadian girl growing up in the Bronx, watching beauty ideals dance across TV screens that rarely reflected her own. In interviews, she's spoken candidly about her early insecurities. She didn't think she was pretty. She said her nose was too big. Her chest was flat. And the way she told it, boys never looked her way unless it was to make a joke. But the moment she started stripping at 19, all that changed. Not the insecurity, but the urgency to fix it. In that world, beauty wasn't just about confidence. It was currency. Cardi's come up began in the back rooms of dingy NYC clubs, where thick meant tips and a flat body meant being invisible. In her own words, she was desperate to compete with the girls who had curves, the ones making real money. So she took her first step into the world of body modification with illegal but shots. Not the sterile kind done in Beverly Hills. No, Cardi went to someone's basement in Queens, laid down on a table, and got injected with God knows what. All because it was cheaper and faster than surgery. The pain? She said it was unbearable. But what came after? Instant results. She started making more money, getting more attention, and for the first time, she felt seen. That taste of transformation became an addiction. Soon came the breast implants. Then a round of liposuction after her daughter culture was born. Then another BBL. And maybe another, depending on which era of her ever-shifting body fans are analyzing. And every time she got snatched tighter, the stakes got higher. But while Cardi was busy sculpting the perfect Instagram silhouette, her natural features were slowly fading into something unrecognizable. Fans clocked the nose job, or was it two? They noticed the cheek fillers, the jawline reshaping, the lip plumping. By the time she stepped onto that Coachella lawn in 2024, the woman they saw didn't even resemble the regular schmegular girl from the Bronx who once stole America's heart. And that's the tragedy buried under the glitz. For Cardi, every nip, tuck, and injection was supposed to bring her closer to power, to love, to admiration, to control. But now, it's the very thing turning people against her. What was once her armor has become the evidence fans use to tear her apart. And yet, despite the backlash, despite the BBL rumors and hygiene jokes, Cardi still clings to that old-school belief. If you don't like something about yourself, change it. But now the world is asking, how much can you change before you disappear completely? If you thought Cardi's transformation was just the product of high-end surgeons and luxury aftercare, think again. Because the most pivotal and most dangerous moment in her plastic surgery journey wasn't done in Beverly Hills, Miami, or even under anesthesia. It happened in a makeshift room in the back of a stranger's apartment. And the woman holding the syringe? She wasn't a doctor. She wasn't even licensed. Her name was Donna Francis, a name that would later become infamous. A self-proclaimed body sculptor with no medical training, Donna was already being investigated for illegal cosmetic procedures. But back in the early 2010s, she was known in the underground as the go-to for cheap, fast but enhancements in New York. No paperwork, no clinic, no safety net. And Cardi, broke, ambitious, and desperate to stand out, made the decision to go to her. In later interviews, Cardi didn't sugarcoat it. She said it plainly. It was the craziest pain ever. No numbing, no sedation. Just raw needles injecting industrial-grade filler into her body while she clenched her teeth through the agony. It wasn't silicone. It wasn't fat transfer. It was mystery fluid, the kind of black market cocktail that can harden, rot, or migrate inside you. And for what? For inches. For curves. For tips of the club. Because in that world, the faster your body gets right, the faster you get paid. And Cardi, still hustling, didn't have time to wait for a 6-month healing process or spend thousands on a certified surgeon. She gambled her health, and maybe her life, for the chance to be that girl on stage. But the aftermath was far from glamorous. Cardi described leaking, swelling, long-term pain. There were rumors of infections. And when she finally had the money and fame to undo the damage, she revealed in 2022 that she'd undergone corrective surgery to remove most of the illegal filler. That decision, just as painful as the first. And while Cardi was lucky to survive, others weren't. Donna Francis was eventually charged with manslaughter after a woman died from the same procedure. She fled the country, became a fugitive, and was later extradited from London back to the U.S. It was a full-blown international scandal, and Cardi's name was now tied to it. This wasn't just cosmetic, it was criminal. And the darkest irony? In chasing the ideal body, Cardi got trapped in a cycle of trauma disguised as transformation. Her story stopped being about beauty and became a warning. Because what does it say about the world we live in when a young woman would rather risk death than be flat in the club? Cardi's not alone in that story, but she is one of the few to walk away from it, with fame, money, and the scars to prove it. If Cardi B's early surgery choices were born from survival and hustle, what came next was something far more complicated, because once she had the money, the fame, and access to the best doctors in the world, the stakes didn't go down. They skyrocketed, and what started as body enhancement quickly turned into body maintenance, and then addiction. Cardi herself has admitted it. She said on record, "I do whatever I want with my body." And that unapologetic attitude, it worked for a while. But behind empowerment was a painful truth. She was never done, never satisfied. After every pregnancy came another round of touch-ups. Every tweak led to another. Tummy tuck, lipo, breast revisions, and the butt? Still a work in progress. By the time her daughter Culture was born, Cardi wasn't just dealing with baby weight. She was chasing a silhouette she'd already altered beyond recognition. In one interview, she confessed to going under the knife just months after giving birth. No rest, no recovery, just back on the table because the pressure to snap back wasn't just external, it was internalized. And with every new look, every red carpet appearance, fans began noticing something unsettling. The face that had once been expressive and raw now looked sculpted, frozen at times. The waist, snatched beyond natural proportions. Her proportions became the subject of online debate, not admiration, speculation, concern. Even in her Instagram lives and tweets, Cardi let slip the reality of her surgical upkeep. She spoke about traveling overseas for procedures, about removing biopolymers from her, but implants or fillers from her early days that were now causing complications. She talked about not liking her nose and wanting it reshaped, then doing it, then tweaking it again. And that's the quiet tragedy. The goalpost keeps moving. Every filter, every photo shoot, every viral clapback about her body comes with a cost, and not just a financial one. Fans began asking, has she taken it too far? When does enhancement become erasure? And can you even stop once your image becomes a brand that has to be maintained, no matter the pain? This wasn't about vanity anymore. It was upkeep, survival of the baddest. In an industry that devours women the moment they look off, Cardi was stuck in a loop, fighting aging, fighting gravity, fighting public opinion, with a scalpel as her only shield. What's most haunting is that for all her fame, Cardi still chases the same thing she wanted as a teenager in the Bronx. To be seen, to be valued, to be loved, for the body she was told wasn't enough. And now, even with millions in the bank, she's still carving herself into something she hopes the world will finally stop criticizing. But what if it never does? When the lights are bright and the applause is deafening, it's easy to forget that every choice we make comes with a price. For Cardi B, that price isn't just financial. It's personal, emotional, and potentially dangerous. The BBL lifestyle, one that's often touted as the key to beauty and power in the Instagram age, isn't without its costs. And for Cardi, those costs are beginning to add up in ways she didn't expect. At the height of her fame, she wasn't just a trendsetter. She was living the dream. The curvy, thick-waisted, hourglass ideal that she turned into her signature look became the standard for millions of women. But with every injection, every tweak, came unforeseen consequences that she may not have fully anticipated. Take her relationship with Stefon Diggs, for example. The rumors swirling around their breakup tied directly to the BBL lifestyle. What was once a glamorous pairing turned sour as whispers began to circulate about the toll Cardi's cosmetic obsession was taking on her personal life. Some allege that Stefon wasn't just turned off by the physical changes, but the growing pressure to maintain a certain look that demanded constant upkeep. Was it just her appearance, or was there something deeper about the insecurity and dissatisfaction that stemmed from the pursuit of perfection? Fans have speculated that Stefon wasn't exactly committed to Cardi in the first place, despite their public appearances and Instagram flexes. Cardi's cryptic posts about being betrayed, hinting at infidelities and broken promises, have only fueled the drama. The BBL rumors? They become a symbol for the unhealthy cycle Cardi finds herself caught in. The need to look perfect in order to be loved, accepted, and valued. But let's talk about the physical risks. The BBL, a procedure often done to give a fuller, rounder backside, has become notorious for its dangers. Cardi, ever the open book, has discussed the intense recovery process she went through after her surgeries. But she hasn't really talked about the long-term toll this lifestyle could take. The physical risk is real, and it's something Cardi herself has mentioned. Complications from fat transfers, injections, and the weight those artificial curves carry on her body are not just superficial issues. They're health risks. The BBL is one of the most dangerous cosmetic surgeries, with higher rates of complications and death compared to other procedures. Even the most experienced doctors can't guarantee the absence of danger. Yet Cardi kept going back, always tweaking, always adjusting. The body that once gave her freedom and confidence became an object of constant maintenance, an investment she couldn't afford to stop making. But now, it's leading to more than just health concerns. It's creating a cycle of stress, dissatisfaction, and public ridicule. Social media trolls are relentless, pointing out every imperfection or anything off about her look, even when she's the epitome of perfection by industry standards. Cardi's faced scathing critiques of her BBL from fans and other celebrities, with accusations of too much surgery and even fakeness. The backlash has led to a growing disillusionment about what was supposed to be her ultimate form of empowerment. And yet, the pursuit for perfection continues, despite the emotional and physical toll. The rumors surrounding Stefon Diggs are just the tip of the iceberg. What happens when you spend your life contorting your body, altering yourself to fit someone else's idea of perfection? For Cardi, the answer seems clear. You lose yourself in the process. Her BBL, once the crowning achievement of her physical transformation, might ultimately be the catalyst for something much darker, a public unraveling. As Cardi faces the consequences of her pursuit of the ideal body, it's hard not to wonder, was it worth it? For the sake of the lifestyle, the fame, and the money, how many relationships and pieces of herself has she had to sacrifice? How long can someone live with the cost of beauty when the scale tips so far in one direction? Now, as we wrap back to Stefon and the BBL rumors, the real cost of the perfect life doesn't just hit her health. It hits her heart, her relationships, and the very core of who she is beneath all the surgery and the filter. Fame is a mirror, and sometimes it reflects back more than you're ready to see. For Cardi B, that reflection has always been raw, unfiltered, and unapologetically real. From her earliest days on Love and Hip Hop to dominating the Billboard charts, she's never shied away from showing us the gritty details, the struggle, the hustle, and yes, the surgery. In a world built on smoke, mirrors, and Facetune, Cardi carved her lane by being the girl who told it like it is. No shame, no secrets, just the truth, whether you liked it or not. But somewhere along the way, that truth started to feel heavy. Cardi's been brutally transparent about her insecurities, especially around her body. She's talked about the teasing she faced for being flat-chested as a teen, about the way stripping put pressure on her to chase a hyper-sexualized video vixen ideal just to keep up, just to survive. In a sense, her surgeries were a form of self-defense, a way to weaponize her body in a world that profits off of objectifying women. And for a while it worked. She built an empire. She got her power. She made her image unstoppable. But now that image feels like it's turning on her. Every public appearance, every photo, every red carpet moment becomes a battleground. Is her face different? Is her body off? Did she tweak too much? Did she lie about what she had done? The woman who once wielded her body like a shield is now under constant assault from the same public that once praised her transformation. And no matter how open she's been, no matter how many surgeries she admits to, no matter how candid her interviews get, it's never enough. The audience wants transparency, but they also want blood. And Cardi's starting to bleed. The same fans who once called her a trailblazer now accuse her of being insecure. The same people who praised her BBL are now making BBL gone wrong memes. She's fighting battles on every front, defending herself against accusations of smelling off, dealing with a rumored breakup, and navigating a body that may no longer feel like her own. And when she claps back, it only adds fuel to the fire. Her rants, once legendary, now read as defensive. Her insults, once empowering, now feel like a cry for help. This isn't just about plastic surgery anymore. It's about what happens when authenticity becomes currency, and that currency starts to lose value. Cardi's never claimed to be perfect. In fact, she's made a career out of telling us exactly how imperfect she is. But the question we're left with is this: has keeping it real turned into a trap? When every vulnerability is content, when every confession is dissected by millions, when your truth becomes the world's entertainment, how much of yourself do you really get to keep? Because here's the heartbreaking part. Cardi's openness is rare. In an industry built on illusion, she's been one of the few to admit what it really takes to look like that. She's exposed the surgeries, the pain, the cost. But instead of receiving grace, she's met with cruelty. And now, we're watching in real time as that honesty starts to wear her down. So what does it end? When do we, as a culture, stop rewarding self-destruction masked as confidence? When do we stop forcing celebrities, especially women, to bleed for our entertainment under the guise of being relatable? And more importantly, when does Cardi get to put the mask down? Because maybe the real question isn't about the BBL or the backlash or even the fame. Maybe it's this: when does keeping it real start to hurt more than it helps? And in Cardi's case, has that line already been crossed?